Hey everybody! Imagine you want to use several different clips in a video and have to match them. Or you want to use a lot and create a specific look. Or the colors or exposure of your video just don't look good because something went wrong when you shot it. In all these cases, the first step you should always take is a color correction. Today I will show you how to make a color correction on your GoPro video. Please note that the color correction will be much easier if you shoot with the right settings. That's why I recommend you to activate Protein on your GoPro. Within Protein you should set the color to flat, which will activate the lock profile and improve the dynamic range of your camera. You should also pay attention to the white balance. Fixing the white balance to a certain value will make it easier to make corrections to the video in post. Personally, I usually set the white balance to native. This gives me a fixed value with which I can work well later on, and I'm not forced to set the correct value immediately before shooting. The result of your recording will look something like this with these settings. I will now show you how to correct the exposure and colors. Please keep in mind that color correction is about getting a clean, well-matched material that you can use to create a cool, uniform look later on. I will soon make a video on how you can give your GoPro footage a cinematic look. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested. I will show you the color correction in Final Cut Pro. It basically works the same in Premiere. If you want to use a free program, I recommend DaVinci Resolve. However, Resolve requires a little more practice. In iMovie, color corrections are generally possible, but in a very limited way. As a first step, I would correct exposure. To make it easier, you should use the waveform Luma. This waveform shows you how light and dark areas are distributed across the image. Here you can see that the image has a lot of bright areas on the left and right, and the darker part in the middle. Using the waveform, you can see immediately how much you can adjust the exposure without losing details. For the correction itself, I use the color wheels. You now select the shadows and reduce the brightness until you are approximately at 0 on the waveform. Then you increase the brightness of the highlights until you reach about 100 on the waveform. Next, I would adjust the saturation. I increased the master by 30 to 40% because I chose a flat color profile. You can check the level of saturation with the vector scope. The higher the saturation, the more the colored areas will move away from the center. The vector scope is especially useful if you want to adjust different recordings to match each other and you want to have for all recordings approximately the same level of saturation. For that you can compare the vector scopes of the different recordings with each other. Now you should take care of the white balance. The aim at the moment is not to create a special look, but to get a correctly colored image for all shots, which you can then change uniformly later on. For the white balance I use the RGB parade. The white balance is correct when the three channels are balanced. In this case you can see that the red color dominates slightly in the highlights when compared to blue. So we have to increase blue and reduce red for the highlights. To do this we move the point in the center of the color wheel for the highlights. It is important to ensure that also the shadows colors match each other correctly. Once the channels are balanced and you are satisfied with your white balance, you can check the exposure again. As you have seen, color correction is relatively simple. You should make this correction for all your clips. Only then you should continue with color grading and make corrections to achieve a specific look or just add a lot. I hope the video was helpful to you. You support my channel with a like and see you next time.